Hi friends, good evening and welcome to IBM TV Startup Wednesday. We have amazing panelists and co-hosts joining us. We have Nick Palaveta joining us from Raleigh, North Carolina. We have Jim Aid from California. We have Alexander Starr from Toronto, and then we have Willie Hill from Australia, and myself, Ankit Khanalwar from New Delhi, India. Welcome to IBM TV, and good morning to all, and good morning to the world. And we have to discuss something special about education today. So what is that, Nick?
Oh, okay. Here's going to be our topic for today. This is going to be our special. So we're pushing the startups out a little bit, but I'll discuss the startups also a little bit. But this case is a case that's now what they call moot court because it's over with. The name of the case is actually called Harvard versus ICE. Okay, Harvard is a big university here in the United States. They may even heard of it in Australia and in Hong Kong. And what they did is they sued ICE, which is our immigration service, because what we're going to do is kick out all the foreign students. And here's the reason why. We're going to be discussing it today. And we have a lot of foreign students. There are 231,000 people from other countries that come here in our higher education system. 231,000, almost 250,000. We're going to deport them. Why? Well, because what happened is that they can only do online education at some universities like Harvard. And there's a rule that says if you're only getting online education, you can't be here in the United States. And if you're here illegally, we're going to deport you. That's basically what's going on. Harvard sued, 200 universities sued, and what happened was the person who wrote the rule withdrew it. Okay, so right now it's what they call moot court. There is no real there is no real legal decision that's going on. This all took place like last week. So when we set up this meeting last week, we were going to have all our subject matter experts on, and it was going to be a hot legal topic. But now it's kind of what they call a dead legal topic. But is it? Because in its administrative rule, it can come back like a bad disease. So who's going to be on later on today? Well, we're going to have Greg Budsman, who's the former dean, and he's been on before, the Arts and Letters at Southern Illinois University, and now he's a professor at Southern Illinois. Well, you learn about academia. They become deans, and they go back to being a professor, then become deans. Deans is more administrative, professors more teaching. He's going to be on in about an hour. We're going to have Holmes Stoner, the chairman of the American International Chamber of Commerce, who does have some skin in this game because he works internationally in the Pan-American region, which we have a lot of students overseas. A lot of them are listening to this show because they're online. And you know, deportation is not the most fun thing in the world to do, and you may not even go back to your hometown. I mean, it creates a lot of problems for students. And I was briefly an international student. I would hate to have the country I'm in saying, "Hey, we're about to deport you." Heck, I was in Russia. I was in bloody Alexander Starr's country. I had to go down with the police. They took me down to like these chambers in the middle of St. Petersburg. I was going, what happens if they just locked me up? No one would know I was here. But, you know, you have to trust countries to a certain extent. Okay, so it's a big issue. We're also going to have David Rubenstein, professor at Washburn University School of Law, who specializes in constitutional law and administrative law. Remember, these are con law and admin law issues. He's going to be on also today. So we have a very nice lineup of what I call subject matter experts. We're going to be discussing some of the issues that relate to Jeff Brown at the University of Illinois. He may or may not be on, if he's on briefly, because you know, school's ramping up, and he's the dean at the University of Illinois School of Business. He's been on before, so we're gonna kind of like co-op the Startup Wednesday. In the meantime, I sent Alexander Starr you, and I don't even know if I can discuss this, an offering memorandum to look at. I guess I could do that because they don't know what the offering memorandum is about. I'll send it to Willie Hill and Rakesh to look at also for review. But it gives you some homework to do this weekend. Yeah, Ankit.
So I was an international student around 10 years ago, and our concern was not about, universities or maybe fees or what they want to do and all those things. Everyone wants to study in US because of exposure and also because of that OTP program. Because that program gives you a reason to work in US for 2 years without any trouble of H1, and then if you're good, then you'll get H1 file. And in India and around the world, I mean, because I'm a part of a lot of associations of international students, because I never revoked my access of that. So they are talking about the program that how they will be able to work now for 2 years. That's the concern.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because they're able to work here for 2 years too. I mean, there's a lot of benefits,
and then they obviously take back all the money whatever they put in the studies, because if they work, they'll get that money back, and they'll get the exposure and all those stuff. Yep. So they're concerned about that if they do an online study, what happened to that 2-year program?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a subject matter expert in immigration or administrative law. We're going to bring on experts in that area. And immigration law, as you know, here in the United States is really bloody messed up. There are people here that have been here for years. And part of the reason why is there's no statute of limitations. Now, so the statute of limitations exist in every crime you commit except murder. Seriously. In other words, Ankit, if you came over here and you robbed somebody and you went back, or you robbed somebody, you stayed here, or you point a gun and you pistol whip somebody, usually in 3 or 5 years, if you're not arrested, the statute runs. Even if you say, hey, I was guilty, yeah, I did it. In other words, in the statute of limitations, an old English, too bad we don't have a resident Brit on. It's a old English common law. Yeah, I beat him up pretty bad yesterday, mate. I wonder if he's ever going to come back. Yeah. The thing is, it's an old British common law concept that if there was a crime committed after a period of years, it's forgiven if it's never prosecuted. We don't have that in immigration. If we did, it would stop a lot of this nonsense. It's really very strange. Our immigration laws do not sync with the rest of the laws here in this country. I think us having a discussion on immigration laws, but I will bring in immigration law experts, would be very interesting. Why are we so messed up here in the U.S. In immigration laws? And it may exist in other countries too. I don't know. Every time I travel abroad, I have to check, do they need a visa? Do they need a passport? Like when I go to Russia, they need a visa, so I have to fill out all this paperwork. They have to investigate you. What am I going to do over there? Come on. But they do that because there's some bad actors, and that's part of the reason why they do it. So I understand the reason for it, but at the same time, somewhere along the line, we're going to have to fix that. I was looking at your country, and Beecham, I guess they call it Beecham Palace or something like that. There's actually a real palace in Juniper, somewhere south of New Delhi. Gosh, I have to go get the name of the place. You probably don't even see the TV show, but
is it about Jawaharlal Nehru University, JNU?
Yeah, well, it's right south of New Delhi. And you can actually. A lot of universities in New Delhi. I would, yeah. I see the problem with India. It's huge. I'll have to email you this place, but it's a palace, and it's been around for 475 years, and you can actually rent rooms there. So what I was thinking about, Ankit, is flying over to New Delhi and then go rent the palace. Okay, hang out at the palace, baby. Now I did that. I did that in England. I didn't want to tell my mate that. In Oxford, they have what they call country estates, okay? And so the thing is, I rented a country estate when I was in Oxford, and that's pretty cool. Great way to travel.
Downton Abbey?
Actually, I did go see that. That is Highclere Castle, okay? Downton Abbey is actually known as Highclere Castle. I did go visit Highclere Castle, but rooms were not available for rent. The place I was in was called Ensham Hall. Now, I should send you pictures of it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a huge... Okay. Oh, it's got to be like a 40,000 square foot mansion, but they're known as country estates.
Yes,
they're little 30
little country estates. Yes,
come on, man, that thing's huge. My business partner yesterday, I should show you a picture of this. He goes, "I went to Wyoming and rented a cabin." Okay, so I looked at the cabin. If I could find a picture, I should. It was a bloody mansion. I said, "Max, this ain't a cabin. This is a mansion. Are you kidding me?" Well, it sleeps 28 people. Yeah, it's got 28 bedrooms. You call that a cabin? Well, it was in Wyoming.
I've never stayed in a cabin like that.
Sometimes, Jim, our definition of a cabin may be different than yours. Yes. So we'll see. In San Francisco, you get so little for so much that it's crazy. So part of the reason, for those who've gone there, okay, you get these little postage stamp houses, and then they charge you millions of dollars for it. And the minute his eyes open and he leaves San Francisco, he finds out for $1 million, you get a huge mansion with a spread on it and all this other stuff and servants and butlers and pullmen.
Tell my wife that.
You know, I mean, seriously. And so I'm going like, why would anyone look? I honestly, in my country club, I had some friends who bought into Carolina Trace, got the biggest, most expensive home in Trace. I don't know, it had to be, 8,000-9,000 square foot home. And I said, what happened? He said, well, I sold my 1,600 square foot home in San Francisco. I said, okay. I think it was in Palo Alto. He actually ran the computer system.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just the way it is here. So, Willie Hill, how's it going on Australia, mate? I'm not sure if we're going to be having too many startups today. We're going to co-opt this, but what's going on in the great Melbourne?
No, we're in a bad state.
Oh.
There's like 500 cases since yesterday. 500 new cases.
500 new cases. Okay, for those who want an update on what happened in the United States, we didn't have 500 new cases. We had 1,000 people die.
Wow.
Just yesterday, just one day. Okay, see, at this rate, we'd kill off about 365,000 people. The rate we're going right now, in case you guys didn't know. 1,000 deaths a day. Not cases, deaths. Part of it is, our policies are sort of horrible here. So let's go to Hong Kong. Let's get some good news. Rakesh in Hong Kong. What's the death toll for Hong Kong for today?
I think we lost one or two more people, but we've had about 115 new cases. Only one person died.
Oh, really? One person. Yeah, we had 1,000. You had one. Okay, so the thing is, it's all a matter of perspective. Yeah, we're
7 million, 40 million.
But Florida did worse.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to India. How are we doing in India, Ankit, when it comes to the coronavirus?
So we have around 40,000 on an average daily cases, and then death rates are under 1,000. So around 700 plus death rates are there, and the same parameters going on from past like a couple of weeks now. So around 40,000 cases and 700 deaths.
Right. Okay. What about Canada? Oh, Canada, your country's cold.
We stand on God.
Wonderful. Well, Canada is doing okay. The worst province of all is lately Quebec. Quebec, it has almost 58,000 cases. Ontario is doing a little bit better, but I'm actually surprised that it's doing not so well. 38,000. British Columbia is okay. Also, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, they're okay. The Alberta is a little bit worse. It's almost 10,000, although the population is not that great. So overall, it's okay. All these northwestern territories, they have almost no cases, but they have almost no people either. So
I've flown over the Northwest Territories, and I can vouch nobody lives there. It's like flying over Australia. I flew over the outback, and let me tell you, no one's there. 3.5 hour plane ride. I saw no people. I saw no buildings. I saw no roads. It was just a big desert for 3.5 hour flight. We covered thousands of miles. It's okay, Willie, but there's no one there in the middle of Australia.
Well, it's like one journalist a few years ago, I read it, he described his flight from Tokyo to Moscow. So they're flying over Japan, and there is a city after city after city, the lights here and there. Then all of a sudden, 6.5 hours, no lights, no cities, no nothing.
Right.
And
yeah.
6.5 hours.
What gets me is Alexander, is what are they going to do with all that bloody land? I mean, Russia has huge amounts of land. No one lives there. What are they going to do with it? Are they going to develop?
They will lease it to
live there. The Siberian tigers live there.
Yeah, but other than Siberian tigers, I mean,
let them live.
Land,
water ponds in Russia.
Actually, what they're going to do is already doing that. They're going to lease it all to China. And what happened right now is
At least
No,
to China.
yeah, there is still, and you know what the end of this lease will be. I'll tell you how it works.
Yeah.
There are still a lot of beautiful women in Siberia, a lot, and of course, all their husbands are lost, or they're killed, or they're drinking, or they're somewhere else. So they're taking, as a husbands, they're taking Chinese people because they're hardworking people and they provide for families and they really like Chinese people. So the more Chinese people will be there, the more Chinese family will be there, their children will be nothing but Chinese. And then in about 10, maybe 15 years from now, they will hold a referendum whether they want to be, still be a part of Russia or they want to become independent. Now, if they will win the referendum, they will become independent, then they'll ask to join China. Guess what? This is where we are going with all that.
That would be very strange. I did see a report that just came out yesterday. They say by 2024, China will be the world's largest economy. I think this is by some national organization, UN. China will be in 2024 be the largest economy. The United States will be number 2, and number 3 will be India. I thought that was very interesting. And Russia is going to crack like the top 10 or top 5. It was an interesting report. And so I know what they're doing over in India because I know that more people in IBM work there than they do in the United States. And when you see this television show, Beacom Palace, or whatever the heck it is, Beacom House, you notice that for years, I mean, decades, centuries, people have been flocking to India to get things made. Okay, so the thing is, Ankit, it's like everything's made in India. You know, it's like China. Everything's made in China. Okay, so everybody go, we got to go to India. Why? Because they make everything there. Okay, so anyway, they're saying is they show it moving to the world's 3rd largest economy, and Russia moving up. And I was kind of shocked to see Russia cracking up into the top. And I'm wondering, what are they doing over there? Because when I was there, there's 2 cities, like what Alexander said. There's 2 cities. You go to St. Petersburg, you go to Russia, you go to Moscow, and then that's it. You know, no more cities to go to. Well, unless you want to go to Vladivostok, which is way on the other side. You want to go to Stalingrad, but I'm not sure if they've ever recovered. So what is Russia doing to move their economy forward right now? Do you have any idea, Alexander?
Their economy now in a pathetic state, and I think it will become even worse. How they're going to crack first 5 or 10 or 25, I really have no idea. And the problem is that Russia is historically and always will be a very poor country, not resources. I'm talking about people. People in Russia are very poor. And even those who are not so poor, they will claim for next 5 centuries that they're poor, simply because if they're not so poor, then whatever they have will be confiscated anyway. If not by state, then by bandits, by husbands and wives and relatives and whatever. So everybody is claiming that they're poor. Okay, that's number 1. And some of them are actually poor. Majority of people are just simply poor. Now, when the country's population is rather poor, then there is no finances available, like public finances, IPOs or anything. It's all dead, and always was dead. And you know what? It's not even the right word, because dead means that something was somehow alive and then died. Now here we're talking about dead, always dead, forever dead.
I know now why. I know now why Sasha immigrated to Canada. If he started saying this in Russia, I'd be visiting him in the Gulag.
Okay. Yeah, you know, it's a typical story. Okay, I was not so poor in Russia, but I live in Ukraine, and actually in the city of Odessa, which was a free port before the revolution. So some commercial traditions were still alive in Odessa, even at my time. And also don't forget that my parents were well-to-do people. I supported myself through university by playing all kinds of games. And if some people, some students sometimes would offer me a game which I never played before. So I said, of course I will play, but give me some good odds. And after getting good odds, I was playing that game. I could play even ping pong. I would ask, give me 15 points odds, and I will play ping pong.
You are what we call here a hustler. It sounds like you're a
You
hustler.
know what? You know what? The money was not important to me. The process was.
Right.
The process. I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed the winnings. The money comes good. You know, like it's not even fun. Okay. I was coming, let's see, to university for a session, and I had in my pocket say couple of 1,000 rubles, and there was a guy who loved to play poker with me, but he was a student, and he was hustling for all their friends to put together 100 rubles to start playing with me. You know, poker, you know, when you have any idiot with 2,000 rubles playing someone with 100 rubles, he will win regardless.
Right.
It's just impossible not to. So, okay, so I ask him normally at the beginning of the game how much time he has. So if he has an hour, so okay, I can work with him for an hour. If he has only 15 minutes, I say, okay, we'll do it in 15 minutes. It didn't really matter, whatever was happening. So this is kind of a life which, and don't forget that I was much younger, okay? So of course I cherish memories of this absolutely free life. Although my today's life, I don't complain at all. I'm doing every day whatever I want to do. I enjoy every day, and there's really no complaint against. Except something made me curious. Somebody made the claim that there is a site when people are claiming that they can make on a stock market from $200 a pound, 10,000 in a very short period of time.
Sure.
They got my curiosity,
Yeah.
and I investigated what they're doing. And you know what I replied? I replied, yes, it is entirely possible if they will add up deposit of $9,800. That's how they're gonna make that.
Yeah, that's how you get you know how you get a small fortune, like they say in the stock
You
market.
start with a large one.
And it shrinks down. But
Well, Sasha, it sounds to me like you're living the life of Riley.
Riley.
That's the old Irish expression for when you're at ease and comfort in your life.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what you're supposed to do when you
Sure,
get older. Is that your life is supposed to get better, right, Jim?
Why not? And believe it or not, stock market is up today too.
Oh my goodness! Let me
Well,
check.
I think it's because of
I have to verify this.
the vaccines that are coming out on coronavirus. And
Right.
people are saying, "Oh, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel." In Oxford, they said they've developed a vaccine.
Sasha's favorite color is green.
Yeah, green. Yeah, and so the thing is, and we predicted this a long time ago. Ultimately, the treatments are going to get better, and the vaccines are going to get better. And I think that's the reason the death rate is going to go down per percentage of people that get infected.
Yeah, but Trump yesterday said that it will get much worse before it will get better.
Yeah, that's because the thing is they haven't perfected all this yet, and we have so many people that got real sick in the pipeline without having all the how you say, the resources to slow it down. One of the doctors recommended, hey, you can use quercentrin, so I bought that. Another one, a study just came out on SSRN for melatonin, and I was thinking that's kind of weird. I don't keep that, but that's a possibility. So there are some, and these things aren't going to get studied, the natural herbs, because there's no incentive for the big pharma to study. There's no money. So what happens is the herbs and the things like this, they're not going to be studied. Instead, what they're going to focus in on is the, unfortunately, the types of vaccines and the treatments that, unfortunately, people can make money on. It's just
look at what Rudy Giuliani is investing in, and then we'll know.
Yeah, right, yeah, whatever they're investing in. But I think what they're seeing is that the vaccines will start coming out, and then this thing probably by next year is going to go away. Now, with that, and Kit.
So we have a tie with Pfizer in India, and they are claiming that the vaccine will be out in December. So as the Oxford lab also confirming that something will happen starting from December onwards. So maybe we have a first round of vaccine in December, and then based on that we can have a batch of things. And then also we are working. Government of India is working that how they're planning to, vaccinate 1.3 billion people. Because that's
right. Yeah. In other words, the delivery system, which we said would all
assuming it's effective.
Assuming it's effective. Actually, we do have I'm in contact right now with the head medical doctor at Pfizer, and to get him on IBM TV. But like I said, getting these people on, difficult. We've communicated. If I do get him on, I'll let you guys know when he's going to be on. But because Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, they're all going to be in the game in some format. Sometimes they partner because they're going to use their distribution system with the person who developed it.
That's what going to happen.
Yeah, that's what
everyone will work together. It's just a matter of time who will be the leader and then who will follow the leadership.
Right. And realize that the thing is, a lot of cases they'll probably start vaccinating the high risk group. But then you got another problem, which all the scientists have said. Hey, even if people get vaccinated, we have another problem. We don't know how long it's going to work and how effective it's going to be. You see what I mean?
And also side effects. We are talking about side effects as well. What are the side effects?
Oh yeah, side effects, right. Yeah. And for those who are interested in more of this, you can always come to our Friday with the medical doctors. I have two more. Trying to get Dr. Moskowitz back on Friday, and also Dr. Bodine on Friday. So I'm trying to get some more doctors on the Friday show and Kit, because the thing is, just so that we're a little bit more up to date with what the medical answers are. The political answers are a whole different cat, and this bothers me that when the people that are leading the charge here in the United States are not subject matter experts, they are politicians. And how bad it is.
I just have one thing. What time are we scheduling David K. Johnson for today's show?
Oh yeah, David K. Johnson's going to be on today. Yeah, from my understanding.
What time?
I believe he's going to be on at noon.
Good, because by 1 we close, right?
Yeah, by one we're going to be closed because we have the investing show coming up.
Today will be really something else.
Yeah.
Should I confirm it at 12?
Yeah, confirm him at noon. Yeah, because I also have. Gosh, who else is coming on at noon? I think Rubenstein, the professor at Washburn's coming on at noon also.
Because he just emailed me, so he just wanted to confirm what time he wants to.
Yeah, noon. Yeah, because at 1 o'clock we have investment with Sasha. It comes on, and he promises a really good show. I don't know if he's going to have Fighting Shaquille on or not.
It will be, Nick, it will be a mother of all investment shows.
Oh, the mother of all investment shows. Oh.
Yeah, listen, Nick, I wanted to, speaking about doctors, I remember a couple of weeks ago or so, there was a program on TV, on one station, and they were talking about coronavirus, and there were a couple of Dr. Fauci, I think, was somebody else, and there was Larry Cadlow, and announcer announced him as a doctor. Here's a doctor, this and that, and here's Dr. Cadlow. So nobody corrected him. And at the end of the program, when they already closing the program, then one of the doctors is in Fauci, and he said, please never take advice from Dr. Cadlow.
Yeah, well. Also, the thing is, see, with doctors, one of the issues is they also have they're specialized in certain areas. So, like a nephrologist and a radiologist, they don't know each other's subject matter. It's a whole different world.
No, but Larry Cadlow, he's a financial analyst on.
Oh, okay. So he has a PhD. Right. Yeah, he's not a medical doctor. I understand. In other words, the thing is, see, I have a doctorate degree. It's a Juris Doctorate. Yeah. Don't let me operate, and don't let me do anything. Okay. In other words, I go
practice constitutional law.
Yeah, I won't even do constitutional law because I don't have that subject matter expertise. So I kind of like stay in my own little area. But the thing is, and the people that are Juris Doctorates and the people that are PhDs and medical doctors in academia, they don't even recognize the JD. The American Bar Association did this. They said you must recognize it. So the ABA goes, JD is equal to PhD. And then the PhD goes, no, it's not. Then the lawyers go, well, you have a PhD, but you can't go to court. Ah. Okay, so the thing is, they fight, they squabble and fight among themselves. It's absolutely hilarious. PhDs and JDs like clash, like it's a big deal, and stuff like that. But you know, it's what it is.
Land, because if you have a PhD in, say, literature, you look down at someone who has a PhD in education. I mean,
oh yeah, right, right, yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because when I was in college, they actually had almost a hierarchy of what universities you go to, and even in engineering, okay, which I was counseled not to go to because they said there's no degree at the end of that rainbow. You know, it's like, oh, we're over the rainbow. There's a degree in engineering somewhere way out there, okay, which means you never get to it. But they had electrical, chemical, mechanical, you know, whatever else, civil, right? In other words, they have like this hierarchy of engineers. I go, what are you guys doing? Well, it depends on what engineering degree you got. It makes a big difference. And I was going like, well, here's the degree I'm going to get. I'm going to go, and I got some really bad jokes to tell you about lawyers with engineers. I can't even say it on television. They're really bad. Lawyers, doctors, and engineers. I'll have to do that in private. But there's a really great joke on that. But in law, they tell you, hey, go to political science. And boy, that is... talk about that's opinions. So I went to business administration because I didn't see where's the substance in this stuff, and business administration at least business has substance, politics doesn't. Now with that, we're looking at politics in America. I don't know if you guys follow that overseas, but around September 4th, we have been debating about having a political show on IBM TV. So maybe I should get some thoughts on that, because we've been counseled by our friends at IBM, well, you got to stay away from politics, which I understand because we don't want to make any enemies. That's the reason we don't say anything bad about countries, or at least we try not to. Don't want to make any enemies. But what are your thoughts about having a political show on IBM TV? I'll go to a person who knows a lot about politics first. Jim Eade.
Well, I would also be in favor of it, you know, and I think we should have a show on religion as well. I'm just kidding. But I do think that the politics is very controversial, and people have real good, strong arguments on different sides. And you can have a productive conversation and enlighten people rather than this back and forth, people hating one another. So
yes. Well, see, I think too, if we have the right leader, we could actually discuss political issues without going into this extreme stuff, which on Facebook they camp out on both sides of the equation, and then it's like
it's almost impossible to have a civil discourse.
Have civil discourse. So we'll talk to a person who has been involved in politics, and he knows that. The civil discourse. Alexander Starr, since you come from a place where freedom of speech is something that is guaranteed in the Constitution of Russia, what do you think about politics? It is. It's in the Constitution. Read their bloody Constitution. What do you think about political show in IBM TV?
Well, okay, as IBM TV is concerned regarding politics, first of all, without politics, you cannot discuss meaningfully anything from business to medicine to science. There's no subject that you can completely isolate from politics. Even chess, there's a lot of politics in chess.
Absolutely.
Okay. You know, he was telling me that. He said he was on. See, I was wondering why Jim was so sociable. Because chess players, as you know, Sasha, when they're good, they ain't sociable at all. Here's how they think about people. It's what happens on the board that counts. And then Jim shows up, and the guy actually can get along with people. I thought, this guy's weird. How can be a chess player and gets along with people? That's not good. And then he told me, well, I served on the FIDE board, and he did the political route on chess. I said, why is there any politics in chess? There shouldn't be any. Right?
Oh my goodness gracious!
And that's what he said. He was kind of like, "It is political." Okay, talk to me, Sasha. Politics. Chess.
First of all, I mean, just finish with chess politics. Let me ask you. Okay, here's a FIDE, International Chess Organization. How you can trust organization or even see it as a functional organization where a country like, let's see, United States of America has one voice, and a country of Somali or Rwanda also have one voice, okay? So you rule it out as a nonsense, as completely bad and organization which has to be absolutely forbidden on territories of countries like United States and other law-abiding countries, at least that. And hopefully it will happen soon.
Yeah, well, no, I understand the problem. It's like Rwanda having one vote equal the United States. I mean, we should have 50 votes. We got 50 states, you know, and they don't take in
college. What about
Pardon?
California having 2 senators and North Dakota?
Well, that's the reason they have electoral colleges is because they want to balance the states with the House of Representatives. You see what I mean? In other words, they had this balance.
13 states.
Yeah, but Fiji doesn't have that, apparently. In other words, like Rwanda has an equal voice on the table of the United States. Okay? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Remember, I just want to mention you.
Don't knock Rwanda. It has the highest percentage of female, parliamentarians.
Oh, they do. Okay, all right. Hey,
Bravo,
good for Rwanda.
bravo. I was not aware of that.
And Kagame is 100 times better than Trump.
Oh,
okay.
Wait a minute.
That's a low bar, Rakesh.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's go to the voice of Hong Kong and the voice of free speech. Since you're in Hong Kong and we know that China is really having into free speech, it's in their constitution. Okay, just to let you know. So, Rakesh, what about a political show in IBM TV? What's your thoughts?
Well, I'm okay with it. I'm fine. I think no matter what you do, politics is all about people, and you cannot have a show about people without politics.
Yes.
Okay, so he seems to be okay with it. Now we'll go to Ankit. So he represents more people than all of us combined. He's got 1.3 billion Facebook followers. Ankit, what about a political show on IBM TV?
Till the time we'll talk about politics and policies, that's fine. But if you started talking about the political leaders, then the problem started rising. And then you have parties like ABC, and then people started talking about their own representatives, and that's the problem. So till the time we talk about good policies,
and the reason I'm saying is the coronavirus topic is going to start fading away once that vaccine comes out. People aren't going to be interested. And what's going to happen here in the United States, starting around Labor Day, it's all going to be about the election. In other words, it's going to dominate the news. It's going to dominate everything, and people are going to run to each side. Frankly, it's going to be hot. From September to the end of the year. Facebook, a couple of things on the media side. Facebook is thinking about pulling all their political ads. And then the traditional media, ABC, NBC, and CBS have said, we're going to have no new shows this year. Now think about that. This is traditional media. They're going to have no new content this year. And I was going like, why? Because they can't produce new content. You see what I mean? And the thing is, our plan at IBM TV, we're going to add 100 new shows this year. So we're going to bring in new content while they're not going to have any new content. But see, again, their content's different. Their content is like Tough Man Survivor, and people are ripping apart an automobile. Okay, or The Bachelor. Oh, it's a cute guy. I mean, so the thing is, I'm not sure if our content can compete with theirs, but I'm just saying that this looks like that's going to happen in the traditional media. Let's go to Down Under, because the people in Australia, they all agree on they don't have any political strife down there. What do you think, Willie, about a political show on IBM TV?
I second what Ankit just said. Let's talk about the policies and take it from there, because otherwise we just resort back to name calling, and that's not advance anywhere.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Because, I was talking about David K. Johnson, because I think he'd be a good person to lead the political discussion and stuff like that. But he wanted to know what were the parameters, what would it be like and stuff. Yep. But it would be more geared toward, at least right now, American politics. We do follow the British politics over here. But I will tell you this, when it comes to politics in India and in China, we get zero almost. Like when I found out, I didn't know Modi was the prime minister until Trump flew over there and was meeting Modi. That was about it. And Ankit, seriously, if you ask me what's going on politics in India, I have no clue. I mean, Jim, do you know yeah, go on, Ankit.
I'll give an example. I had a word with a lot of people during this 4 months, and the first question after IBM TV is what's happening in US. No one talks about their own country because of so much of media talking about Trump and all those things and election. Each and every country and each and every citizen is checking what's happening in USA, what are the stats, what are the coronavirus cases, and what Trump is doing today, and what is the Twitter talking about. So it's more about media gimmick rather than knowing each other. And then if you start watching our shows, or maybe you're broadcasting showing India shows, you'll get to know more about it. But we are watching a lot of US shows. That's why we know. If we stop watching Fox and all those things, we also don't know what's happening. So it's all about media and also social media. And social media runs not from their own headquarters; they run from USA. And then they have to talk about US only. Then only they'll talk about the world.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask Jim what he knows about Indian politics, since he goes to London to get Chinese food or Indian food. So he goes to London to get Indian food. So maybe since he went to London to get Indian food, he told us that the other day. He goes, "Oh, best Indian food's in London." So I guess he's been to London, so he knows about Indian politics. So tell us about the Indian politics, Jim.
Well, I will play an expert on IBM TV. But I basically know very little about it because, it's just not in the paper that I read in the morning, and it's not on my Facebook when I go to Facebook in the afternoon, and it's not something that is in the media that I consume. So I learn very, very little, and it's only when there's a crisis or something is blowing up that I hear about it.
Really? Okay, right. So you get very little about what about China? Yeah. Go on.
So what was the last crisis you heard about India?
The last what about India?
Last crisis or last breaking news about India, Jim?
Oh, I would say it was Gandhi getting rid of the British.
I heard about that too. Then I heard there was one of our companies went over and blew up something, over in India. And that was about it. Other than that, if you told me, do you guys have a parliament, or do you have a emperor? I don't know. The thing is, 1.3 billion people. We have no idea how you're organized. I know you got a guy named Modi. And I don't know if he's the Maharaja of India or he's the Emperor of India or whatever he is of India, because they don't give us any information over here about India.
He's a Führer.
He's the Führer of India. Okay, is he the Führer of India? Oh, I know there's a guy named Modi that hangs out there. Other than that, I don't know. And in China, I know there's a guy named Xi Jinping who's always dressed up in a suit, looking real nice, and all the people in China agree. They all agree with everything. I don't know how they do it. Matter of fact, I believe they only have one time zone. The country is as huge as Australia, the U.S., but they all agree, hey, look, we should only have one time zone. Is that true, Rakesh? You guys only have one time zone over in China?
Yeah, it's only one time zone, Beijing.
Yeah, see, they all agree. So the thing is,
Indiana.
There's two in Indiana, right? Yeah. Okay. What about Australia, mate? Let's not ignore the people down under. What do you guys get information about the politics in the U.S. Way over there in Melbourne?
There's one station or network, SBS, and that's very global in its outlook. I used to have Al Jazeera on my smart TV. But in the last few weeks, it's gone. I don't know what's happened.
Oh, really? Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. Now,
there were two, Al Jazeera and China Global Broadcast. They're both gone. I don't know what happened.
Okay. In Canada, Alexander Starr, do they follow politics here pretty closely over there on the north of the border? I know they closed our border, so I can't see you.
Canada has its own unique politics. Prime Minister Trudeau a couple of weeks ago, and it's still going on. It's probably the biggest scandal in the world right now. But however, I wouldn't be surprised if you never heard about it. He was accused that his mother, Margaret Trudeau, she was getting, I think she's got $275,000 in the last 3.5 years as a speaking fees for one of the charity organizations, where when someone heard about that, and he's, how dare is he to pay her $275,000 only in 3 years? She's underpaid. He is a murderer. Let's get rid of him. So one people want to sue him because he paid the money of charity money to his mother, and other people want to sue him because he paid so little. So what do you want to do about it?
Yeah, that didn't make but a little bleep here in the United States. You know, Canadian
I'm not
scandals.
surprised I never heard about that, because who cares about $275,000?
Yeah, in the United States, that's just the tip that one of the senators get when you take them to lunch.
Absolutely, yeah. Here,
You know,
in the United States, anything
again,
less than $1 trillion,
okay,
it's not worth even talking about.
Listen, see, I have back there my U.S. Senate cup because I actually did some work on the Hill. Okay, and here's the work that you do. You meet with your senators and congressmen, all right? Then you write them a check to their campaign. Okay, that's it, through your PAC. Okay,
Which is legal.
It's perfectly, they call it perfectly legal. David K. Johnson would go crazy. He goes, so what do you used to do when you're in Washington, D.C.? I said I wrote checks to congressmen and senators. Well, why'd you do that? Because I wanted to talk to them. Okay, in other words, what do you want to talk about? Now, back then, it was mainly, I was working with the insurance lobby. It's called the National Association and NAFA, National Association of Insurance Financial Advisors. Okay, a lot of people don't even know what NAFA is, but I'll brief you. The National Association of Insurance Financial Advisors is the 12th largest PAC in the United States. It was designed as a political action committee. They meet, back then we were meeting twice a year, and we had one big meeting in Washington, D.C. It was a congressional conference to go lobby the congressmen and tell them, don't touch the cash value of life insurance. Make sure that the taxation of insurance is always, you know, upheld. All right. And we got all the congressmen and the senators agree that they'll keep the laws of taxation of insurance positive. And then what we did, because I was on what they call the Government Affairs Committee, we would write checks to the ones that agreed with it, just write it to their campaigns. Thousands of dollars every week I was meeting, just writing checks to congressmen and senators. I was going, this is a stupid job. I mean, you know, in one respect, you had a lot of power, or at least you felt you did, over senators and congressmen, because I even got them to go to Campbell Law School. Dun, dun, dun. I'd invite them to go to law school and meet with the professors. They go, how'd you do that? I literally had the people at Campbell Law School, how'd you do it? I said, well, I write them checks. So I ask them to show up. They show up. You get U.S. senators to show up? Yeah, but you write them checks, but not directly. You write it to their campaigns. It's almost like this is a big revelation, you know? Come on, guys, where you been? It's almost like the education universities don't understand the whole concepts of PAC. Didn't they read Citizens United? I know when David K. Johnson gets on, he'll hammer, it's the worst thing in the world. Maybe. It is what it is.
Nick, I got a master's degree, and then none of that was in my education.
Really? Okay, so you never
taught how politics works.
Right. It's called. It's real simple. You write checks, you know, to their campaigns, because remember they have a real problem. Every 6 years or 4 years, they have to run for election, and they have to raise millions of dollars.
And what about the House of Representatives? You got to run.
Yeah, same thing. You know, yeah. I met with some of the people who were with the House of Representatives. Someday I'll post all the pictures. I got a lot of pictures with this. I got them in my folders with the senators and the congressmen and stuff like that. You know, so if you guys ever want to go meet with senators and congressmen, let me know. By the way, bring your checkbook, and I'll introduce you to.
Do people still use checks in the United States? I mean, the last time I wrote a check, I think must have been some years ago.
Yeah, they'll still take checks. Rakesh, if you want to write me a check, I'll still take it. Now, the worst case scenario, it'll bounce because your check was bad. Best case scenario, it'll clear. You see what I mean? So I don't lose.
Don't they use internet banking or something like that?
Oh yeah, all the Bitcoin stuff and that stuff. The real problem,
it's regular dollars. It's not Bitcoin.
Yeah, but the
do it all through transfers.
Yeah, but the thing is, see, what they want to do is make sure they record the transfer. You know what I mean? In other words, you would think, oh, you want to do it behind the back and you want to do it something like that, but you don't. You just do it right in front. Do it right in front in the open. Then you say it's completely transparent. What's your problem, guy? You see what I mean? And then over here, the law supported. That was the whole case. Citizen United, they support it, and it is the system. And then they complain about Russia trying to buy the election or influence the election. What do you mean influence the election? All I have to do is put money into a PAC and have the PAC send checks. I mean, this isn't hard. You know, I mean, you know, it's just it is what it is. Yeah. So
you need to be in the KGB to figure that out.
Well, the thing is, I was waiting next time to go to the Hill to be able to go. Do Sidania, what are you? I just got elected. You know, and have our senators from Russia. How'd that happen?
Hey, that's what we say in the chess Olympiads. Our Russians are better than your Russians.
Well, that used to be true. You know, we used to recruit them, but then we figured it was better if we want to win at chess, recruit from all the best players in the world, not just the Russians, whoever's the best. You know, sooner or later, Magnus Carlsen, I hear, is going to emigrate to St. Louis to go play on the chess team.
I bet.
Yeah. Awesome. Right. Because Rex is going to go. Rex knows. He goes, I'll just write the check. Yeah. Magnus will be here.
Rex didn't where he was by not writing some checks. Yes.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the name of the game. So, Ankit, you're gonna beam on. Yeah, because my plan is to go to India and write checks. This way, I'll be able to get my 1.3 billion followers. Ankit, what do you got over there? Do they take checks over there?
Our check policy is that the checks will be valid for 6 months, and some checks, if you put up the date, it's valid till that date only. It's not that you can cash it at endless time. And also, I had a close talk with a lot of people who work in US banking system. The problem is that they have very few resources to work in the banking system, and they are majorly dependent on technology. And that's why they wanted to promote technology and cashless and all those things comes in the picture. And most of the banks have their offshore offices and backend system either in India or somewhere else. So that's why the problem is that they wanted to go and use technology and make sure that cashless becomes the real, the card becomes the real market. And that's what it is. And also, there's a lot of privacy and all those things matters in US as compared to India. So because of all those things, they wanted to promote digital banking.
Right. Yeah, and you see, you can get trouble with cash. As a matter of fact, even bringing cash in the United States, if you have bringing more than 10,000, you have to declare it. You got to file these forms. I forgot what they are, but if you bring in checks and credit cards, it's okay. Yeah, there's none of those requirements. So you don't run into foul. So when I go visit you in India, I'm bringing a lot of no cash, but a lot of credit cards and a lot of checks. Okay.
Well, we don't want anything else. One card is good enough for you.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. And then I'm gonna rent the palace. I'll let you know the name of that palace. It's right south of you. It's a huge palace. It's been around for 475 years.
There's a lot of palaces.
There's so many palaces.
Nick,
so many palaces. I'll tell you the palace.
Oh
Nick,
no.
New Delhi is up north. So everything else is south.
I'm sorry.
Hey, do they have any palaces in Australia, mate?
No, we don't. They were a bunch of convicts and they didn't do palaces.
They did jails.
They have no kangaroos and palaces.
No palaces over there. Okay, let me see. Okay, it's called Samodhi Palace.
Samod Palace.
Yeah, Samod Palace. Samode Palace. Okay, there it is. Beautiful palace, right? Samod Palace. You're familiar with it?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, it's in Jaipur. Jaipur. Is that how you pronounce it? Jaipur. Okay. Yeah. So what do you think about hanging out at Samod Palace, Ankit? Would that be a good place to run out?
Enough. I mean, I'm basically from Rajasthan only. We live in Delhi since a lot of years, but we are from Rajasthan.
Oh, really?
That's the place where the palaces are.
Oh, really?
Beautiful palaces.
Okay,
the best palaces are in Rajasthan.
So you know that there is one more thing. Jaipur, which is the capital of Rajasthan, there's the palaces there. That is known as Pink City. And if you whenever you get a chance, you visit there, you will find a lot of pink color buildings.
All right. Okay. So anyway, the name of the TV show.
It's a 4-star palace.
Okay, it's a 4-star palace. Okay, it may not meet my standards, but anyway, the thing is, the name of the TV show, I like 5-star. or better. Okay,
We have 7-star as well. We have 7-star palaces as well.
Five stars.
7-star palaces. Mine only goes up to 5. Okay. Anyway, the name of the TV show is called Beecham House. You can probably see it on BBC or PBS or someplace. Beecham House is the name of the TV show.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, you gotta go see this. It's called Beecham House, and it's actually filmed in Samoti Palace in Jaipur, Rajasthan. Rajasthan. Okay, right. So the thing is, I was looking at the TV show, looking at the palace. Then I found that I could rent it out. So I was going, hey, that's cool. So and I was going to go meet with Ankit as soon as this COVID thing's over with.
Go to London. Meet him there.
I ain't gonna meet him in London. London's a drag. Get that dude back on. I've been to London. No, I want to go to India, baby. That's
a lot of adventure people. They take a car from New Delhi or Jaipur, wherever it is, and they drive the car way to London.
They drive to London from. Okay, actually,
it's a 30-day trip, and you have to cross through a lot of borders, but it's a good. That's what they said. Amazing trip and amazing views and a lot of things. And I think you have to cross like 20-25 countries to reach to London.
Really? Okay, they drive to London. Well, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to take a plane to New Delhi. But here's the thing. Once I get to your city, I do not drive. I either hire drivers or I take trains. Do you guys have drivers or trains to get to these palaces?
We have drivers, trains, we have butlers, we have everything. You have to come there and you'll experience a different world altogether.
Okay, right. Okay, because I have certain standards. See, Jim just told me it's 4-star. I usually do first class, 5-star, and palaces, renting them. That's not a bad idea. Okay, you know, we may go. I want to see these 7 stars. Why don't you just let me 7 stars? I got to see that. But this one looked good enough because, and the reason I'm focusing on this, it's actually in a TV show right now called Beecham House. Right.
Well, you have to sit on the ground to eat, and you eat off a banana leaf with your.
See, I don't do that stuff. Okay. So.
But if you're planning to visit India, you have to make sure that for how many days you are coming, because then only we can suggest an itinerary that you have to go to north, south, east, west, central, wherever.
I was going to be there for about a month.
Month is still good enough for India, yeah.
Is it good enough or not good enough?
Huh?
Is it good enough to be there?
You will be able to
never
cover
enough.
a lot of places, but it's
never
not
enough.
but it's basically
Good enough for San Francisco, but not India.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be a month in San Francisco. Come on, that's a waste. They have one bridge to see, and then that's it. Oh, wait, they have the chocolate factory.
The Bay Bridge, the Golden Gate.
No, they don't have the Golden Gate. That other bridge is a waste. Okay, it was only because the other bridge was falling down. And every time I'm in San Francisco,
that's true.
Okay, I think there's going to be a bloody earthquake. The whole thing's going to get fire, ice, and damnation. It's all going to implode. So I'm spending top dollar to sit in a city that's about to be sunk under the earth. That's ridiculous. I won't do that. Okay, instead I'll go to India. Usually
part of it's built on landfill, so it won't be
so landfill. Well, it will be returned. I mean, go look at the studies, Jim. I don't even know why you sit there. You're spending $1 million in a house that's going to end up in the bay someday.
$1 million
or more. Okay, you're spending $1 million or more in a house that's going to being sucked into the bay. I mean, the people there just don't get it yet. Okay, here's going to be the next crisis, probably during your lifetime, Jim. There's going to be a big earthquake. Millions of people are going to die if there are 1 million people that are still there. And they're going to go, oh, I don't believe this. A big earthquake took place in San Francisco. Oh, look at all the damage and carnage. They've been predicting that for years, you know? And the smart people go, I need to sell my house now, but I can't get close to the value. Duh. Okay, so get out while you can, you know, buy your
my wife.
Buy your palace in India. Hang out. Anyway, yeah, Beecham House. Yeah, the reason I have to go there, TV show based on it. And what we can do is hang out there. We'll do IBM TV shows out of the Beecham House, which is really a palace. Okay. So anyway, that's I didn't know it was 4 stars, but 4 stars will have to do. You know, we'll just have to do. But it looked like the restaurants were good and everything was good.
Did we decide that you're going to do a political show with certain boundaries?
I don't know. You know, the thing is, see, the real problem is that IBM could put a big quash on us on that. You know, they go like, ah. I think we could do one because, like what Alexander says, I mean, it's almost like you can't avoid it. We could do it as long as we stay out of
personnel.
Yeah, the personnel. Yeah.
There's one important consideration. If you think that your audience, like probably all the population, let's see, a few months before election, it would divide evenly, 1/3, let's see, Republicans, 1/3 Democrats, and 1/3 independents or undecideds or whatever they are. Okay. Now, the closer we are moving to election, that 1/3 of undecideds, they will start polarize, and some people will go to liberals, and some Democrats, and some people will go to Republicans. So, of undecided whom you would like to serve, more or less, the audience will become smaller and smaller and smaller as we are moving towards